Good afternoon. This afternoon? Yeah. Before we start the teaching, again, correct your motivation. The main topics presented in this 37 practice text is about relative and ultimate bodhicitta. And up until now, we have profound explanation of relative bodhicitta, which is taken on the suffering of others, exchanging yourself with others, and engaging in post meditation practice, etc. As you know, the essence of relative bodhicitta is loving kindness, compassion, and patience. Practice in relative bodhicitta involves cultivating the intention to achieve liberation for the benefit of all beings, and actively engaging in compassionate actions. So it has two main aspects: aspiration and action. Relative bodhicitta. Aspiration and action bodhicitta, relative. Now here we are going to start with teachings on ultimate bodhicitta, okay? That is the 22nd verse. Explains the practice of ultimate bodhicitta. It says, all appearances are your own mind, and mind itself, primarily transcending all mental fabrications. Knowing this, in the face of dualistic notion of subject and object, and not engaging is the practice of bodhisattva. So the question is, why is this ultimate nature called bodhicitta? The reason is that when you recognize this ultimate nature of the mind, you will automatically develop a great compassion for all beings, because you will see that all those who lack this realization have the same nature as you, and you will see their suffering from disturbing emotions that results from not knowing their true nature, the ultimate nature mind. You will then automatically develop great compassion for them, even though they have this great nature we call Buddha nature, right? But they don't know, they don't understand, they don't recognize the nature mind, and then they're suffering from disturbing emotions that result from not knowing their true nature. So then you can see through your wisdom, then you develop great compassion. That's why it's called ultimate bodhicitta. The definition of bodhicitta is both compassion and wisdom, right? The essence of relative bodhicitta is compassion. The essence of ultimate bodhicitta is wisdom. So that's why relative and ultimate bodhicitta is inseparable. So the first line here, all appearances are your own mind. It means things your eyes see, things your ear hear, right? As well as all the thoughts, feelings, and experience and dreams that appears in your mind. Buddhism believe mind is creator. Your mind is creator. We normally believe all this, thoughts, feelings, and all these things truly exist. Therefore, we create attachment and all the other emotions. So the first step in understanding the nature of reality is to realize that all these appearances are nothing other than your mind. First step. The second step in understanding the nature of reality is to realize that mind is not anything other than emptiness. If you fully realize these 2 points, then you will develop the wisdom, which realizes the true nature of phenomena. And once you have the ability to recognize the empty nature of mind, then your attachment or whatever will not arise when you see something beautiful. And your anger will not develop whenever it come across anything that is unpleasant. So whenever a thought arises, recognize it as being empty, and then that thought will immediately lose its power and will not generate attachment, anger, all this. There is no way we will ever get rid of attachment and anger as long as we keep believing that they truly exist. The more we attempt to reject the external things, the more they will come back at us. So it is important to recognize the empty nature of your thoughts and then simply allowing them to dissolve into their nature. In the Dzogchen teachings, it says, looking at the mind, there is nothing to see. Seeing nothing, you see the nature, the essence of all the Buddha. So, if we can't tame our own mind, there is nothing to tame outside of us. And this is Buddhist belief, right? So, from an ultimate bodhicitta perspective, all these appearances of disturbing emotions, thoughts, and so forth are not our main problem. It's not the appearances themselves that bind us, but it is the disturbing emotions and thoughts that we create that cause us to remain in samsara and prevent us from achieving liberation. So the second line says, mind itself primarily transcends all mental fabrications. Some practitioners may have believed that when you realize the nature of the mind, then at that point, the mind becomes transcendent. But that is not the case. The mind's nature itself is totally beyond change. So it cannot be improved by realization. If you examine the mind in your meditation, you will recognize that the objects of attachment and anger have no true existence. And through ultimate bodhicitta meditation, you will be able to overcome creating cause of samsara through attachment and anger. And everything that appears, pure or impure exists relatively because of mind. And the relative vision of the mind, all this, everything that appears, pure, impure, all this relatively exists because of mind, right? But we do not find all existence if we search for it in ultimate sense. Okay, I'm not going to talk about how to search for this thing. Now, the third line says, dualistic notion of subject and object. Are you looking at the text? Okay. Dualistic notion of subject and object, it refers to perceived and perceiver, right? The perceived is the outer perceived object, and the perceiver is the inner perceiving mind. It is just like a dream in which objects seem to arise, yet nothing that appears has any true existence. So if the outer perceived object is just like a dream appearance, then what can we say about the inner perceiving mind? The text says that the mind itself transcends all mental fabrications. With this recognition, we can give up clinging to dualistic appearances. Only then we will be able to accomplish this practice. So meditating on ultimate bodhicitta, letting the mind become peaceful and staying in a meditative state of stillness, free from thoughts, and then recognizing the empty nature mind within that state of calm is the essence of meditation practice. Do you understand? This is a little bit. Don't worry. As long as you focus on relative bodhicitta, aspiration and action, you will understand the ultimate bodhicitta sooner or later. Now the next verse. Yedda wame yerdan trapa na erjiti jinjasan chivyendan zibir na dimbermata henchak pongwa jasila. When you encounter objects that please your mind, though they appear beautiful like rainbows in the summertime. Does rainbow appears wintertime? Oh, you're right. Sundog, that's not a rainbow. Do you know how many colors of rainbow? Wrong. I'm joking. I don't know. Beautiful like rainbows in the summertime. Oh, that's your mind. Okay, it says that beautiful like rainbows in the summertime, not regarding them as real and giving up attachment to them is the practice of Bodhisattva. Okay, the 22nd verse above was an explanation of the meditation practice associated with ultimate bodhicitta, right? This verse speaks of how we apply an understanding of emptiness towards beautiful objects during kind of the past meditation, and how we learn to properly relate it to experience of pleasant and unpleasant objects, which, if not practiced properly, will create attachment or anger, right? So when we see, hear, smell, or taste something beautiful, right away we think, wow, this is beautiful, and then become attached to it. But here the text says, when you encounter objects that please your mind, see them like a rainbow in the summertime. See, rainbow is vivid and captivating, but intangible, right? Similarly, objects or experiences that bring pleasure in life are often beyond our control. Whatever it is that you are perceiving is, in that sense, beautiful and desirable, just like a rainbow. It's totally insubstantial. Insubstantial, and this is true of many other objects of attachment, including people, thoughts, and ideas. So anything we experience as an experience and its nature has no true existence. Therefore, it says here, give up attachment to them. Again, it doesn't mean denying their existence in actual sense, but rather recognizing that their appearing beauty is just temporary, just like rainbow. And by seeing them as a temporary thing, then we can reduce the tendency to clinging these objects. So this is how bodhisattvas deal with external things, either pleasant or unpleasant, and how they practice non-attachment when they see something beautiful. You can see something beautiful, but it says give up attachment to when you see something beautiful. So bodhisattvas training themselves to see them as just like rainbow, which displays beauty but have no inner value. So when you see something beautiful, attractive, but understand its true nature, it doesn't stop you seeing the beautiful things, but stop strong attachment to it. So if you have realized the true nature of something first, it makes big difference to your way of dealing with it. So when you realize emptiness, this does not mean that you reject all appearances, right? But its purpose is to stop this exaggeration of the object by ignorance when it appears to your mind. So you can stop strong attachment and anger and make your mind totally free. And now the next verse deals with the situation of when you encounter something unpleasant. This verse deals with something that you see beautiful things, right? So 24th, Dunghar na tsuk mulam visha tan trana dimbar zongwi atangche, tibshir mumtan jen dang chapi zin trurutawa jasilangle. All forms of suffering are like the death of a child in a dream. To take such delusion as real, how exhausting. Thus, when encountering difficult circumstances, seeing them as delusions is the practice of bodhisattvas. What is the bottom line? The point is we have to free our mind, either through practice through relative bodhicitta or ultimate bodhicitta. So this verse deals with when we meet difficult situations. Of course, we do encounter lots of pleasant things as well as unpleasant things, right? So when things go well, there is a tendency to feel arrogance and look down on others. And when things go poorly, there is a self-criticism, right? Criticism and looking down on yourself. So both of which cause suffering for yourself and those around you. So this is part of the human condition, I say, influenced by ego. So it is important not to treat this experience, both pleasant and unpleasant, as a substantial. And both, pride and self-doubt are temporary. So do not let either control your inner peace and cause you to disrespect yourself or others. So it says here, all forms of suffering are like the death of a child in a dream. So in your dream, for example, your child dies and you go through a lot of suffering from losing your child. But when you wake up, you realize that there was no child there in the first place. So why were you so upset about the child dying? Similarly, so this teaching suggests that the suffering you experience in your life feels overwhelming and real in the moment and harms you, but ultimately it is insubstantial when you view it from the perspective of ultimate truth. So then it says, to take such delusions as real, how exhausting. It means how exhausting, huh? It means when we to take such delusions are real, how exhausting. It means when we fixate it on our suffering as something real, something solid, and believe it to be truth, we exhaust ourselves all the time by frustration, fear, sadness, unhappiness, right? So for bodhisattvas, their practice is not about denying suffering. Instead, it's about recognizing that suffering arises from our perception, attachment, and mistaken view of mistaken views of life. And by understanding that difficulties are like illusion or dreams, bodhisattvas can face challenges. And at this moment, we may not have capacities like bodhisattvas do, but at least my teachers always say we should reflect every morning how lucky I am to be alive. And whoever sees me, hears me, touches me, dreams of me, may that be the complete cause of their happiness. Morning. And during the post-meditation section, in ordinary life, they say we should try to engage in the practice of the 6 perfections, 6 paramadas, try to be generous, focus on discipline, be patient, and so forth, for the purpose of achieving enlightenment for all living beings. And on top of that, if you are able to meditate on ultimate bodhicitta, you will be able to understand the reality of suffering. So therefore, even if you suffer, your suffering will be like the death of your child in your dream. It appears, but it has no existence. It's just a dream. So when you wake up, the dream ends. This is how bodhisattvas handle their emotions when they are faced with either joy or unhappiness. Bodhisattvas, of course, go through very difficult lives and challenges, but they really know how to handle. So then it doesn't matter. Okay, 25th. Shangshimdo pi li chang tangu na shirungu po namla muchirgu, tipsha landang naman mrevi jimba tongwa jasi laglayan. Okay? It says, for enlightenment, if it is necessary to sacrifice even your body, then what need is there to mention external objects? Thus, practice in generosity without hope of what? Reciprocation or positive result is the practice of bodhisattva. Landang, namman meri. Landang means reciprocation. Namman is positive result. Okay, keep that in mind. So from here, there's the sixth section of the text. Ngulchu Thokmé talks about how to practice the sixth perfection, Sanskrit six paramadas, right? Which is part of the cultivation of both relative and ultimate bodhicitta of the bodhisattvas. So the sixth are the what do you call it? The principal practice in which bodhisattvas engage when they practice action bodhicitta. So first we start with generosity. It says, for enlightenment, if it is necessary to sacrifice even your body. So if it is necessary to sacrifice even your own body for enlightenment, you should. It is valuable. Then, of course, giving up external possessions should not even be a question. So if it is our intention to achieve Buddhahood, the enlightenment, then there is no question that we must be prepared to be generous. This shows that true spiritual practice requires a deep level of detachment and selflessness. The practice of generosity is one of the six perfections in the Bodhisattva path, right? So it says, practice in generosity without hope and reciprocation on positive result. This is a very special motivation. In Buddhism, true generosity is not about expecting or receiving, recognition or rewards or positive karmic benefits, nothing like that, right? But it is about giving purely out of compassion and for the benefit of others. So, pure paramita, pure generosity, it has to be done without any concern for a reward of any kind of to the giver. The Bodhisattvas want to help all beings, so they cultivate this kind of giving without attachment. So this teaching encourages us to be generous in everyday life, not just only with, for example, with money or possessions, but with your kindness, with your time and effort, without expecting anything in return. So true generosity arises from a mind free from attachment and ego. And the essence of generosity is, as Shantadewa says, simply the intention of giving away anything based on the realization of non-attachment and the realization of the suffering of others. That's all. Therefore, the essence of the perfection of generosity is about realization of non-attachment. That's that. No more. Then 26th verse. If discipline is lacking, you cannot even benefit yourself, then your wish to benefit others is laughable. Thus, maintaining discipline free of desire for worldly existence is the practice Bodhisattvas. In Buddhism, discipline is one of the fundamental foundations for mental clarity and ethical conduct. So it says here, if discipline is lacking, you cannot even benefit yourself. Then your wish to benefit others is laughable. Kadmuni in Tibetan, laughable. So if we are undisciplined, right? Undisciplined, our efforts to help others and ourselves will be harmful. So we have to constantly remember to arouse bodhicitta mind for our actions. If we wish to help others, it says we must first, cultivate self-discipline and inner strength. The bodhisattvas practice discipline not for personal gain, but out of a deep commitment to the well-being of all sentient beings. It's so important. Discipline comes when we observe our thinking and observe our action. It comes with the mindfulness, discipline. That is absolutely necessary in our daily life. So discipline is constantly watching with a sense of awareness of our own reactions and um, this um, constant watching brings great discipline. Without discipline, teachers say, we will not be able to guide people to the right place. And with discipline, we can reduce negative thoughts, negative words, negative conduct, negative motivation, and so on. So discipline is necessary in our daily lives. It brings not only long-term spiritual result, but also gives meaning to this life. So when we talk, eat with discipline, mindfulness, then there is no chance to harm others, make others unhappy with discipline, right? So that's the action bodhicitta, practice action bodhicitta. Okay, that's second paramita.